Hi everyone, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence Scardino. The week begins on Monday, June the 29th, and this is a very active week, as if we need any more stress in our lives. Especially where there were two eclipses in June, and this Saturday into Sunday, there's the final eclipse, a full moon lunar eclipse. But let's start with today, the 29th, the 30th. Expansive Jupiter is retrograde, but it's retrograding back into an exact alignment with transformational, powerful Pluto, also retrograde. Now, this alignment happens about every 13 years, and it promises a lot of growth, usually financial, economically, business-wise. This first time this happened was around April the 1st, that first week of April, and that was when the United States Congress passed this major stimulus bill. And now it's going to, and it's also when the stock market was crashing constantly through March, and things started to level out. And yes, it's been going up and down, but it's a whole lot better than it was back in March. And so that was the expansive growth of Jupiter crossing over powerful transformational Pluto. So that's peaking a second time this Monday, Tuesday. It's going to happen again, which is very good for the world economically, this November. But this transit is so powerful that we could have been feeling it from last week and certainly through most of this week. But the peak of it mathematically is Monday and Tuesday. So we might even be hearing about the U.S. Congress pushing for more, another stimulus bill, more help for the people and for business. But also there could be the stock market might be really rallying for a while. Now, by Tuesday, as that influence is still really strong, Uranus, or the sun, will be in harmony with Uranus. Uranus is the planet of technology, the internet, innovation. It's very progressive kind of energy. And when the sun puts a favorable spotlight on Uranus, which is strongest on Tuesday, you might be thinking more out of the box with more original ideas, more open to learning new technology, especially as Mercury, which is retrograde until July the 12th, but Mercury is now exactly aligned with the sun on Tuesday. So it's also Mercury to the sun, a lot of communications, a lot of ideas, a lot of brainstorming. But with the Mercury in retrograde, it could be from old ideas you put on the shelf that you're rethinking and re-reviewing. And with the sun to Uranus, coming up with a whole new approach to it. And that Jupiter-Pluto, you're feeling really hopeful and expansive. So the week begins pretty good for business, economics. But on Wednesday, Saturn, karmic taskmaster Saturn, is retrograding back into Capricorn now until the middle of December. Saturn gave us a preview of its cycle going into Aquarius for like 2021, 2022, once every 30 years. When Saturn briefly moved into Aquarius, the end of March to the end of June. Aquarius is more group-oriented energies, more collaborative energies, but working in conjunction with science and technology, that's Aquarius. For the betterment of mankind, that's also the thrust of Aquarius. But prior to late March this year, Saturn had been in Capricorn for the previous 2.5 years, aligning with Pluto. That was creating all this pressure for all this economic upheaval and change. So the Saturn is retrograding back into Capricorn July the 1st to December the 16th. And it's on the positive, it's about getting a second chance to get it right, to bring closure. But if you've forgotten your lessons of that Saturn-Pluto that created this whole global recession, the Saturn is going to remind you. And so I think there's going to be more reorganization overall with business. Now, Thursday, there aren't any important planetary events, but the moon is in Sagittarius the whole day. And Sagittarius is adventurous, outgoing, very friendly. So there's a lot more optimism. Friday is interesting because the moon is going to go void of course most of the day. And I talk about this usually once a week. That's when the moon is no longer making any aspects to other planets. So the energy, there's no activity. So the energy is flat. And that starts at 6:06 a.m. Pacific time through 9:48 p.m. Pacific time. So for most of us, the entire day, good for staying the course, keeping to your routine with the Sag, still feeling upbeat and optimistic, but certainly not certainly not when you might want to make important decisions. Also, Mercury's in retrograde. You certainly wouldn't want to be making any important decisions. And Saturday through Sunday is a full moon lunar eclipse. And the rule of thumb with eclipses is there's something hidden that will be revealed at a later time. And the rule of thumb is the week before and the week after the lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, you don't want to make any really important decisions. So between the moon void of course on Friday, Mercury is retrograde, as we're coming up to this full moon lunar eclipse. The whole week is where you need to be reflecting on choices you're coming up with, doing your homework, doing your due diligence, getting second opinions, but don't be making really important decisions. The Saturday is the 4th of July, the birthday of the United States. Now, this full moon lunar eclipse is peaking at the end of the 4th, but on the east coast of the United States, the solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse is going to be on the 5th. So pretty much that Saturday, Sunday, this full moon lunar eclipse is putting a major spotlight on the chart for the United States, which happens every 19 years. And basically that means a lot of secrets are going to be more and more revealed, which has been happening with the eclipses, also revealing a lot of hidden messages in June. And this energy continues strong throughout the summer. Before I sign off, I want to remind you I'm available for a one-question offer for a nominal fee. You can find a direct link to order it into the description box below the video. And the time of birth is always important, even if all you know is, my mother said I was born when the sun was rising. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, have a great week.